Let me start by saying that I have heard many of these deep web, dark web stories and have consistently dismissed them as nonsense. A close friend of mine, however, vowed that she had visited this location and had witnessed some seriously bizarre things. Some topics she would discuss, others she would not. Some of the things she had witnessed, according to her, would haunt her for the rest of her days. I should have stopped there, but I wanted to think she was making it all up, and there wasn't really such a place. However, I was the one who was in error. You already know the drill. I installed Tor, Onion, and discovered the hidden wiki. I had received warnings about some of the links and how they could lead you astray and do terrible and crazy things. I clicked a few. The majority were requests for escorts, drug deals, and sex meetups. Needless to say, I was beginning to believe that I was correct, and that the deep web was just a simple way to conduct shady transactions that were impossible to track. It was dull, tame, and somewhat dull. It took me a while to find the link to The Night Watchman after searching everywhere for something even remotely interesting. All right, this might be interesting. I assumed it might be a man telling spooky tales or wandering aimlessly through a sleepy town at night. I was met with a flat black page with 3 videos lined up side by side and blown up to fill the space. They were stopped, and each one had a picture of an individual. 2 young girls and their parents made up the family of 4 in the first one. The second featured a couple, with the female clearly pregnant. With her dog, a cute black lab with a white streak over his left eye, there was only one woman in the third. A voice broke through before I had a chance to look at them for too long. It was male, but I couldn't really tell what he actually sounded like because it was a little distorted. He said as follows: "Good night. The Night Watchmen have 3 distinct households for you tonight. Each of them leads a unique life, holds varying beliefs, and has various aspirations for the future." He paused and rubbed his throat. He appeared to be grinning during the following section. View each video, then pick one. Even though I didn't really understand the purpose of the task, I must admit that I was intrigued. I was interested to see where this would go. I chose the opening video. It didn't have much to it. It displayed the family in their home, cutting between scenes of them watching television, playing outside, eating dinner, the parents putting the children to bed, and beginning to make out. Thank God it stopped there because I was beginning to feel like a strange creep. I was peering into a portion of people's lives that was only intended for them. I hesitantly chose the following video. I was taken to the residence of a newlywed couple who were preparing to have a family. They were shown hugging and generally looking happy in the baby's room. They ate salads at the kitchen table, read baby books and magazines, looked through mail, watched a show on TV, and then cuddled up in bed. I couldn't help but smile when I thought about this one because it was so adorable. I was still a snoop in their private affairs, though. After watching the others, I felt it only made sense to watch the final one. This picture was of a single woman and her dog. She was a bit of a slob. The trash was overflowing, the dishes were piling up, and there was laundry spread out on the love seat in the living room. The family had some toys and laundry lying around, while the couple had a very clean home. The other 2 had been fairly organized. Given that the videos did depict these elements, I questioned whether there was a purpose to that. Anyhow, the woman appeared to be alone. She consumed a half-gallon of ice cream, watched a lot of television, checked her phone frequently in the hopes of receiving a call or text, played fetch with her dog, fed him, and then went to bed, taking her phone with her. She started masturbating, and I started to feel really uncomfortable. Thankfully, this one also came to an end there. I awaited the next development. The videos were reset to their original still images for each. The voice returned and said, "Which will you select now that you have seen?" For a while, nothing happened as I sat there and watched, hoping that someone else was also present and would make a decision. 3 more videos started playing at the same time as the previous ones vanished. My stomach turned at these. 3 tall men were present. I assumed they were men based on the few details I could make out. The same outfit was worn by both of them. A black trench coat that hung around their ankles, black pants, a black shirt, and black boots. To top it all off, they each wore a sizable black hat with a wide brim. "Which one are you going to pick?" "Over the clearly live feed," the voice spoke. Death comes to our unfortunate friends on wings of speed. You have to pick one, that's how the game works. He believed this to be a game? I was appalled. Was I really supposed to decide who perished and who lived in this place? I tried to close the page because it was absurd. The voice resumed calmly. Before you shut us down, you should be aware that your family will be the next victims if you do not select one of the 3 options presented. He made a startling declaration, but I assumed he was only trying to frighten me. And to be honest, he did a really good job of it. When he said Anna, my heart leaped for joy. My name was said. I was now genuinely afraid. All I wanted was for this to end. Anna, my sweet, dear Anna, I am aware that the decision is difficult, but one must be made. If you could, please direct the night watchmen to their task. When the original video started playing again, I knew it was time for me to choose a victim. I said aloud, maybe it's just a terrible joke that some hacker and his friends like to play on gullible deep web surfers. Despite the fact that my heart was still thumping, it was more for emotional reasons than anything else. I took another look at the people. There were kids and a family there. I was unable to pick them. Then there was the expecting couple. It was too much for me to handle. The normally serene voice yelled at me, "Choose. Select now." I leapt and peered at the final one. It was the lonesome woman who lived alone with a dog. She stood to lose the least because she was childless and alone without a husband. I quickly clicked her video, even though it wasn't okay. Very good. Thus it shall be. Once more, the voice was soothing and calm. The night watchman's videos reappeared. The decision has been made, night watchman. You may now get to work. 2 of the watchmen started moving toward the houses in front of them, and the 3rd one started moving away from a house as I watched in horror. I was perplexed and decided on the lonesome woman, but her watchman was leaving. The feed was interrupted as he vanished into the night. The other 2 videos enlarged until they filled the entire screen. What's happening? What is happening? I had nothing more to say. The 2 watchmen that were depicted each entered the homes with ease. My bottom lip was being bit so firmly that it bled. They each silently strolled through the homes as the feeds followed them. One watchman cautiously entered the nursery and took a look around before moving to the other bedroom down the hall. The other watchman made a deliberate decision to enter the kids' room after moving slowly down the hallway. I turned to look at the first one. He was holding a sizable machete as he stood at the foot of the bed of the sleeping couple. He turned to the side and started swinging erratically. I was terrified and felt like I might pass out from the volume of the screams. I reluctantly turned my attention to the other video. The watchman was standing in the middle of the pink bunk bed in the kids' room, holding a machete. He lifted it up, reached over, and pulled the computer plug out of the wall as I screamed. I felt traumatized and terrified. What just happened? What just did I see? My heart felt like it might burst from my chest. My mouth felt dry, and my head was spinning erratically. I made the decision to check my computer after a while, in the hopes that the nightmare I had just witnessed was over. Nothing was present. Days later, I stopped and retreated in horror as I was checking my email. The night watchman had sent an email. I don't really know why I opened it at last. Perhaps I was hoping they would inform me that I had been scammed or something. Instead, there were only a few large words on a background of white. Jenna expresses gratitude to you for saving her from a night watchman fate. We appreciate your choices as well. We had a great time talking to you. Play again whenever you like. A photo of the lonely woman walking her dog in the park while glancing down at her phone was attached. Never, ever again will I use the deep web. My buddies think I'm a bit nuts for spending my weekends lurking on the dark web, but I guess they're just envious since we used to hang out together before college. Once college started, I found myself swamped with assignments and struggling to keep up. I ended up venting on some forum, and that's when the jester reached out. He told me I could buy papers off the dark web, provided I had the cash. Intrigued, I downloaded the necessary software and followed the links he sent. Without his help, I never would have found these sites with their absurd URLs. I purchased several papers, ranging in price from a few dollars to a couple hundred. My plan was to read them, take notes, and compile the best parts to complete my assignment. Most of the papers were well written and seemed perfect for what I needed. I wasn't plagiarizing. just using them as reference points. However, things took a dark turn when I opened the last file. It contained hand-drawn sketches of naked adults and children, which I quickly realized were butcher's diagrams of meat cuts. The pages looked well used, as if they'd been repeatedly read and handled in a greasy environment. The accompanying descriptions made my stomach churn. There were recipes for dishes we all know and love, along with tips for getting the most tender cuts and where to source them. Photos of carving knives and pans were also included. At the end of the horrifying document, there was a link to submit your own recipes. I don't know how I stumbled upon this nightmarish file, and I desperately hope it didn't send any information back to its creators. I'm at a loss for what to do with it. Should I contact the police? The FBI? Did I inadvertently break the law? The thought of these monsters having my IP address terrifies me. Panicked and unsure of what to do, I immediately closed the file and deleted it from my computer. I couldn't believe what I had just seen. The shock lingered, and I found it difficult to focus on my assignments. I realized I couldn't keep this secret to myself, so I decided to confide in one of my closest friends. When I told them about the gruesome document I had discovered on the dark web, their eyes widened in disbelief. They urged me to contact the authorities and report what I had found. Hesitant but knowing it was the right thing to do, I decided to reach out to the FBI's cybercrime division. I submitted a detailed report, including the links I had followed and the contents of the horrifying file. To my surprise, they responded quickly, assuring me that they would investigate the matter and thanking me for bringing it to their attention. As the weeks went by, I couldn't help but be on edge, worrying that the creators of the document might somehow trace it back to me. I found myself glancing over my shoulder and double-checking that my doors were locked at night. The fear was consuming me, and I knew I had to do something to regain my sense of security. I decided to enroll in a cybersecurity course, hoping to learn how to protect myself and my online activities better. As I dove into the world of encryption and digital privacy, I began to feel more in control of my online presence. Eventually, I received an update from the FBI. They informed me that they had tracked down the creators of the sinister file and arrested them on multiple charges. Knowing that those responsible were behind bars brought me a sense of relief I hadn't felt in weeks. Though the experience had been a terrifying one, it taught me the importance of being cautious and vigilant when exploring the depths of the internet. My curiosity about the dark web had been quenched, and I vowed never to venture into its dark corners again. As the darkness descends and the shadows grow longer, our time together on this chilling journey comes to an end. But fear not, my fellow horror enthusiasts, for our sinister tales are far from over. If you've enjoyed delving into the abyss with me and crave even more spine-tingling stories, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. By doing so, you'll become a valued member of our haunted family and you'll never miss a moment of the terror that awaits. And for those brave enough to seek further communion with fellow fiends, join our free Telegram group, where you can share, read, and discuss the macabre with others who delight in the darker side of life. There, our collective nightmares will take root, growing and twisting into something even more terrifying. So, until we meet again, remember that the unknown lurks just beyond the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Sweet nightmares, my friends, and dare I say, stay scared.